My name is Multiplier, and today we are looking at one of my favorite plugins. Its name is RIFFER, and it's a way of generating riffs and melodies. In this video, I'll be showing you what it is, what it does, some of my favorite features, but also some more creative uses for it too. Let's take a look. RIFFER generates MIDI, so you need to route this into an instrument. Choose a scale, choose a note, and click this button here. Generating a random riff, a random melody. Note, you can see here, for example, it's not just generating pitch, but also duration and volume, where volume is the velocity information. To export, simply drag and drop or record, whatever you prefer. If you wanted to, say, manually change these, you could, either by clicking and dragging, or if, say, you're in duration or volume, clicking and dragging this slider. Note, you can also lock each of these three. So remember, when you click this button here, it's generating a random value for each of these three, but you can actually lock them in two. So if, say, you've created a certain rhythm you like or a certain melody, but maybe you want to change the other one of those. So if you have a melody, some notes programmed in, but maybe you want to change the rhythm, you could do so by locking the pitch and then clicking the button, and that'll generate new duration and volume parameters, effectively creating a new rhythm. You've got things like speed and the motion. You can zoom out or zoom in, or maybe pitch up or down an octave. It's all just as you'd expect. Now, let me show you some of my favorite features and then some more creative applications. Infinity mode. Infinity mode generates a new riff every time it loops through. It's almost like you're clicking this randomize button every time it loops through, which of course works great for either generating ideas or even things like live performance or generative sound design, where you may want to leave it running to generate all this material that you can then filter through and pick apart later. It's one of my favorite ways to make sounds, in fact. Generative sound design, generating sounds. Furthermore, I like the shuffle parameter. It's effectively swing, offsetting every other note, moving every other note to the right. Now, most people would use it to simply add a bit of swing, such as here. Fantastic, but what I like to do, in fact, sometimes is increase it all the way to the max. So instead of almost it being one note at a time, it kind of sounds like two notes at a time. If you think about what's happening here, if I'm moving every other note to the right, if I keep doing that as far as possible, then it's almost like two notes are happening at the same time. Not quite at the same time, there's still a small gap, but it's almost like two notes very close, two notes very close, two notes very close, two notes very close, and so on. It gives a great effect, especially when combined with this random riff generation. Let me show you. Furthermore, this guy here generates some random timing, effectively. You can see here, for example, if I take a whole bunch of straight notes and increase this value, you can hear this random timing. Now, imagine that with the melody, and you can see how you get this pretty unpredictable result, but in a good way. You can either use it subtly to add some human variation, or if you take it to the extremes, it effectively makes it like random timing, which can be great for generative workflows, where you want to leave it running and generate some sounds. You can even combine this with infinity mode, so you almost like get random notes and random timing. Now, let me show you a more creative application of this. Currently, we've been triggering a synthesizer, but we could actually use this to make drum loops. Think about this. So this is just simply sending MIDI information, MIDI notes. But if I created an Ableton drum rack using this drum rack trick, each note now triggers a different drum sound. And so we could say set a 4-note loop, maybe a touch of swing, increase the range, and then click randomize until something sounds cool. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And as I say, this is one of my favorite plugins. I love plugins that get me creating things I simply couldn't create in any other way. And this is a fantastic way to do that. Its name is RIFFER. My name is Multiplier. I'm sure there'll be a link in the description below. Thanks for watching. Ooh, yes. Love a good plugin. Ah. Oh, that's brilliant. That is absolutely fantastic.